Welcome to Moosey Makes. I'm Jenna, and welcome to this video. For this project, I am attempting to make an Edwardian skirt circa 1907 using this picture as a reference. This is really tiring. Honestly, the hardest part of this entire project was the pattern drafting. I'm still very new to this, so I pretty much made it up as I went along. Once I had all of the sheets of paper laid out, I started to mark out the centre point, the waistband seams, and the hemline of the skirt. So I'm just going through and marking up where everything's going to go on the pattern, marking out the length measurements and the waist measurements. However, this is where I remember I am really bad at maths, and I've just trying to mark out where the waistband is going to be and draw the semicircle for the waistband. I was looking at it and I was thinking that's way too big. And then when I was measuring from where the waistband was going to be down to the floor length, there wasn't enough paper, so I was like, something's not right here. And I was looking at the waist measurement and I was thinking that's huge. Like, I know I'm not exactly small, but that size is just too big. And then I've just remembered that I was measuring what would be half of the circumference of my waist and basically doubling that. I'm not doing a very good job of explaining my error. Basically, I'm really bad at maths. This is what the pattern was supposed to look like. Instead of taking the radius measurement and using that to mark out the diameter of the waistband, I used the diameter measurement by mistake, meaning that the initial waistband marking was double the size it needed to be. I realised this when I went to mark out where the hemline would be and found out I'd run out of paper. So it is now a couple of weeks later and I have finally finished the pattern drafting. I had to make a couple of tweaks to each of the panels, as when I tested it on the mannequin it was massively too big. I had to half the size of each panel. Maths was never my strong point. It's good to know I have not improved after all these years. Once I was happy with the fit, I went ahead and cut out the fabric. I am using this lovely lightweight tartan linen viscose material which I got from Pound Fabrics. I attached some fusible interfacing and I also decided to line the waistband just to make it a bit more comfortable to wear. So now that all the pattern pieces are cut out, it's time to start assembly. I cut out all of my pattern pieces off camera and ironed them all. I then started pinning them together. I started with the front panel and then attached all of the right side pieces together. Once I had done that, I repeated this with the left side, but made sure to leave the top part of the centre front and front left panels open, as this is where the front closure would go. For the back panel, I folded some pleats in and then added a running stitch across the top to hold the pleats in place. Once all of the panels were attached, I then added the waistband on. I decided really early on that all of the raw edges would need to be hand sewn, as machine stitching would be really obvious and would take away from the finished product. I hate hand sewing. I have always struggled with getting the stitch lengths correct and the amount of time it takes to do. However, I am really glad that I took the extra time and effort to hand fell all of the raw edges. It definitely looks neater, and although it took me a little over 2 weeks to complete, I really enjoyed the entire process. And here she is, the finished garment. I have to admit that this has been one of the easiest things I have ever made, and I really enjoyed the whole process from start to finish. I didn't really focus on pattern matching, mostly because I wasn't that bothered, but also because I figured I had enough to focus on, what with having to draft the pattern and all of the hand sewing involved. The biggest issue I have with this garment is that the waistband is still way too big. I had to use a peg to hold it in place. I would probably also change the closures I used. The hook and eyes were quite fiddly, and because of some of the fit issues with the waistband, they kept coming open. I wonder if a hook and bar closure might be better, but I don't have any of those laying around. I also suspect that the waistband is a bit wider than the one in the original picture, but as I couldn't find any patterns online for this, I just made it up. The fabric is lovely. It's very lightweight and definitely helps with the swooshiness. If I could maybe rectify the waistband issue and the closures, I would definitely consider wearing this as part of my regular wardrobe. I don't really tend to wear long skirts because I'm fairly short, and I feel like long skirts don't really suit me, but we'll see. I definitely love the hand sewing I did for this. I do feel that the extra time really was worth it, and unless you're looking really closely, you wouldn't see the stitches. I'm really proud of myself for actually doing this, especially given how much I hate hand sewing in the first place. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this adventure. Please stick around. I've got some fantastic ideas for future projects coming up, and hopefully some video series that I'm hoping I'll be able to get off the ground soon, COVID permitting. So yeah, please stick around and I will see you in the next one.